What's up, guys? And we're back for another episode of the Scaling Secret podcast hosted by Otter PR. Today, we have a very special guest and a recurring guest, Scott Bartnick, a co-founder of Otter PR. And today, we're going to talk about how to stay motivated while being an entrepreneur. And I think the best way to do this is to separate it from how to stay motivated when you're not having success and how to stay motivated when you're having a surplus amount of success. All right. So let's start with how to stay motivated when you either have a startup and you've never even had a customer, or maybe you've had 3 customers and you are continuously failing. How does somebody stay motivated and keep on track?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this topic. I think most entrepreneurs have struggled with ups and downs of business and failures and successes, and it's really hard to continue day in and day out, especially after those failures, like you said. So one of the things that I look at is just kind of my journey. So my first 3 years as an entrepreneur, I pretty much made no money. I took all of my money from being an engineer and pumped into my businesses, took out a personal loan, and just continued. And for me at the beginning, it was actually really easy to stay motivated because I just had this burning desire, this need. Where I've actually found it harder to become motivated is with a certain level of success. As you start to get comfortable, as you have all your needs kind of satisfied, you start to see not that you're struggling with that motivation, but sometimes it's just where do you go next? What do you do next? Even with ideas, you're not sure what's going to make things better, what's going to make things worse. So there's a lot of kind of back and forth and self-doubt throughout that process of scaling.
What are some strategies if you do have a startup or you have maybe 1 or 2 clients and you really need to get things working and you're having anxiety, you're getting stressed? What are some of your mental strategies to basically calm yourself down and say, okay, let's do this, it's going to be okay? What are some of the strategies that you implement to stay on track?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is creating habits. And you hear that all the time is, what are those daily activities that are going to help you know that you're successful? So let's jump back from business in general and just talk about the gym. So one of those habits that I have formed is, my morning routine is I go to the gym every day. I don't care what's happened. I don't care if I have a migraine. I don't care if my foot's broken. I just broke my foot. It's broken toe, super fun. But I'm going to the gym. Now my workouts might not be as good. I might not be seeing the results that I'm looking for, but I've taken the habit of knowing that even if I'm going to go have a bad workout, I need to go get some physical activity, especially since I have a desk job. So for me, it's not really, I'm no longer motivated. I go through phases of hyper motivation in the gym, but it's the fact that I have this habit. And it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. I have a habit that I need to be into the office at a certain time, and I have a habit that I'm going to respond to all of my business emails. And there's just certain things that are part of my habits. And then those motivations do come and go based on ideas, based on what's going on in your personal life, based on what's business, but it's the habits that make you successful. And really, in my opinion, not the motivation. The motivation will kind of come with cool ideas and leave with stress. Like, it's just, that's part of it.
Right. Do you work out prior to going into the office, or do you work out after?
I rotate depending on kind of how I feel. So if I'm more fatigued, more tired, if I know it's going to be a bad workout, I'll usually go in the afternoon because I'll get a better workout in. Mm-hmm. And if I'm more energetic and feel better, I usually go in the morning because I'll have a better workout. So I try to time that with what's better for me. And it's the same thing with work. I mean, sometimes I'll leave work at 2:00 and I'll go take a nap, and then I'll go to the gym, and then I'll start working again at 4:00 or 5:00, because what happens is, again, talking about motivation, I've lost the motivation, but my work productivity has gone down. I stopped producing I stopped doing a good job. And so I need to be self-aware of kind of what my mindset is and how to reset that. And for me, part of that is just that relaxation, that nap. I'll go meditate or go for a run when my toe is not broken.
It doesn't matter necessarily what type of workout, whether it's cardio or resistance training, it doesn't matter. You just do something.
Just do something. Even if it's, sometimes I'll go in there and I'll do 10 minutes on the elliptical. And it's not a good workout. But I took the habit, and it's this, again, the same thing with business. I took the habit of making sure that I'm taking the necessary steps to succeed and to at least maintain.
Gotcha. Are you going into the gym with the mindset of, I'm just putting in work and I don't really care about my physical appearance and how I'm actually gaining like muscle, etc.? I'm mainly doing this for my sense of well-being in order to be a better entrepreneur? Or do you want both?
I want both. Part of it for me is the sense of well-being, though. So again, when you lose that motivation, for me, that's just the maintenance. That's the well-being. That's, making sure I'm still alive and going to live a long life. But really, it's not really an option for me. It's not like, oh, do I go to the gym today? It's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym today. The option is, do I have a good workout, which I'm still trying to push more good than bad. But of course, everyone has off days, but it's the fact that, it's kind of like making the bed. There's a statistic that says you're more likely to be a millionaire if you make your bed every day. And it has nothing to do with you making the bed. It's the fact that you've started on a good step and you've built this habit of something that, every morning I make the bed and I can check that off as something I've done and it's successful. No matter what happens. This morning was terrible, but before I walked out the door, I made sure that I made the bed and kind of got that win because it was the first win of the day. Today my shower door broke, which is the dumbest thing, but there's glass everywhere. I have cuts all over my body, and it just closed and it broke. And so that was something that interrupted what would have been a positive day, but the fact of the habit of me needing to go make my bed was the first win. That was the first success. And then making sure that I get dressed professionally was another simple win that's a habit that helps me be motivated and successful so that when I come into the office, I feel like I've kind of hit a couple wins already and now I'm here to succeed.
Right. Yeah. And I believe Tim Ferriss talks about that as well. I think Les Brown says that the first 15 minutes of your day will dictate the rest of your day. So if you wake up and people are screaming at you and yelling at you the second you open your eyes, there's a high likelihood and high probability that your day is not going to be optimal.
Yeah, but you can interrupt that pattern. So I think everyone's had days where everything goes wrong, and it just feels like it's a domino effect. This happens, then something else breaks,
right.
And that was my morning today. But Tony Robbins, one of the things when I went to go listen to him speak, he stops the crowd, he makes everyone stand up, jump up and down, shout, and he gets you high energy. And so what he's doing is he's interrupting your patterns. He's pulling your attention somewhere else, and he's trying to pull into some internal adrenaline. So it's that ability to reset. And again, staying on topic, like our focus is that motivation. So if you can figure out what those habits are for you in your day of things that you need to do every day to be successful, that's going to help you for when you're not motivated. And that's, for me, is the most important part because it's so easy for anyone to, New Year's resolutions, go to the gym for 4 weeks,
right.
And then just stop.
Yeah, motivation with the ebbs and flows for sure. Let's say somebody's like in your position where they have a very successful company. You basically can do whatever you want. You're not stressed out on paying your mortgage or your rent. You're not stressed out on paying your car payment. Everything is pretty good. How do you cultivate the urge to not necessarily want more, but drive the company forward when all your needs are kind of met and you're happy?
So it's definitely easy to kind of get stuck and feel, you've hit all your goals. So obviously setting new goals is a big part of it and setting new kind of things, but also creating your own pressure. So if for us, when we try to scale, part of our scaling strategy is hiring new people. And so hiring new people costs more money. So what I'm doing is I'm taking money out of my pocket to grow the company. But then I usually, when we do it, I'll make it to the point where I'm making zero money. And so a lot of times when we scale, I'm setting it so that I can't afford to pay myself. And that pressure helps motivate me. So, I'm pushing myself to be better and knowing that, hey, if I don't do something to grow this business, I don't get paid, even though I'm, we do $400,000, $500,000 a month, a lot of success, but I'm still not making any money because I invested in a building, I invested in a team, I made sure that we have, liquidity in our cash pool. I can't take out past, so we have all these rules. So by increasing, our cost and making sure that we're trying things to grow, that's going to allow me to create new pressure, which will then ideally motivate me and have I reach out to the team and say, hey, I know this was good then, but it's not good now. We've already hit that standard. And so now we need to push everyone and let them know that, we have to grow.
We have to grow. And you're setting that standard. Yeah, very similar to like what Tim Ferriss says is posted on your Facebook or your Instagram. Tell people, I want to lose 50 pounds. And now you told everyone, now you can't back out because people are going to be like, oh, I thought you were losing 50 pounds. And then as a person, it can be quite embarrassing if you go back on that. So it holds you to being accountable. And I don't think there's anything that can hold you more accountable than literally paying people and making no money.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's nothing less fun than making no money.
Everybody loves not making money.
But I mean, I do the same thing with social media. Every once in a while, I'll post a big post and I'll set myself accountable. So I went to a conference, and one of the things that they did was they asked you to write a letter to yourself, because at the end, it was Tony Robbins that spoke. And at the end, you're all motivated, you're all energetic, and you're basically writing your New Year's resolutions down in a different platform. But instead of writing this letter to myself, I wrote the letter to myself and posted it. And what it's done is it's allowed me to go back 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and really check out where it was, because I put my revenue, I put how many people I was employed, I put my top 5 goals, and I've hit pretty much every single one of those goals in less than a year. I have one big one left, which is the 10 million a year. And that'll probably take another year. But it holds yourself accountable and gives yourself something to look at and really say, the most important thing was I put goals that were attainable there. So I can say, I set 5 goals. I've hit 4 of those. And so for me, and I've hit ones that weren't even on the list that are massive, like owning and buying this building. Right. So I've created that thing where not only can I go and say, I haven't done it yet, but also I've done some of it, and that I'm taking the right steps and the right habits towards hitting those goals.
Gotcha. Okay. So posting, being accountable, having public accountability, hiring more people, putting yourself in a position where if you don't make a move, you make no money. Is there anything else that someone that is in a position like you that has a very successful company and is, maybe wants to get to that $50 million a year mark, $100 million a year mark, is there anything that they can do where you can implement that and grow besides what we already talked about?
Yeah, so I think there's a whole bunch of strategies. I think setting your priorities is critical. So, obviously goal setting priorities, but understanding what your goals are and then what those priorities are to get there, and then making those priorities your habits. So for us, one of the big things is, obviously client retention is huge. So figuring out maybe I spend an hour every day with our operations team on client retention, and then new sales is going to be critical because we're currently not making enough. So we need client retention because that we need that base to grow and that we need to acquire more customers. So if my 2 big projects are client retention and growth in the sense of client acquisition, that's where I should be spending my time, and really know that if I'm spending my time in other places, it's probably wasted towards my goal. And so maybe I have to hire or find someone. So if I'm doing something repeatedly like accounting, and that's really not doing anything to help move me towards my goal, so that's a bad habit. I know you could think that you have a good habit of doing your books every morning, which would make sense. But if I can hire someone who I trust and who's going to do a good job at that to replace that for me, so I can spend my time where it's actually going to bring in the results, that's a big part of that 80-20 rule is those habits have to be the right habits. So it's not just, going to the gym for me with fitness is the right habit, but small tweaks in where I'm paying attention to. So if your goal is to lose weight and lean out, maybe I'm doing a little bit less weightlifting and I'm doing more running. So I've kind of adjusted what I'm doing during that time period to be more successful towards what my end goal is, and really understanding that.
Yeah, why do people have an issue? I feel like some people take pride on being able to do everything. Why does that hold a lot of people back?
Yeah, so a lot of, especially entrepreneurs, have this issue where they're generalist. They come in and, you're the only person in the business and you start off running it and you have to do everything. You have to do sales, you have to do operations, you have to do accounting, and all the other jobs. You're literally wearing a million hats. Now, large businesses, the difference is they don't have many generalists. They have specialists. So as a successful entrepreneur who's scaling, your job is to go from that generalist to that specialist. And a lot of people can't do it. So you're not able to give up control, especially like operations is one that takes a while. Billing was one that took a while for me. And so I'm removing that generalist hat and I'm trying to figure out what am I truly passionate about? What am I really good at? And what can I personally do to return the most value to the business? And that's where I want to create my habits.
Right. Oh, that's amazing. Cool. Well, listen, I could talk to you forever. You already know that. How do people reach out to you, get to know you more, and look into Otter PR?
Yeah, so reach out to me at Found Scott on Instagram, and then Otter PR, just go to otterpr.com. You can set a free consult, meet our team, and we'll be happy to help you out.
All right, guys, you heard it here, folks. From Scott to Justin, Justin to Scott, this is the Scaling Secret Podcast, hosted by Otter PR, and we're out. Bye-bye, everyone.